Melihat kaptırıyor topu. Ali Tanrı'dan çok süratli. Ali orta yapacak. Sert orta. Sert orta.
Welcome everyone back to beautiful Bursa. Our form hasn't been the greatest. As you can see from behind me, the weather hasn't been too good either. But hopefully our form in today's game against Akhisarspor is a little bit better. So without further ado, let's head on into Football Manager 21 and crack on with today's episode. Okay, so after some disappointing form, we played our first game against Cyberpunk. And well, as you can see, it was a nice, comfortable 2-0 victory in the end. Nice slotted penalty from Mad. Nice seeing Mad finally get on the score sheet. And well, the match statistics were as follows. We had 16 shots to their 6, 7 on target to their 1, 2.05 XG to 0.52, 11 corners to 2, 10 fouls to 11, 2 yellow cards, 0 yellow cards, 92% passing to 80, 66% possession to 34. Very dominant game from us against mid-table Cyberpunk. Now, as you can see from our starting lineup, Zubzuk got 7.3 in goal. Our back line of Mailman got 7.6. Kublai, a little bit disappointing on 6.8, the only player not to get a green rating in that back line. We then had Gordinho. Now, that's because we had a suspension, so Gordinho slotted in for Obilor. He got 7.5 and did a good job. Then Lassen got a 7.5 on the right-hand side. Central midfield, Shirok with a 7.3, and of course he got that opening goal. We then have Emrehan, who got a 7.9 alongside him. In front of them, Mehmet, very disappointing on a 6.4. Gerkan with 6.9 on the right, 6.9 from Milinkovic on the left. Both of them did decent, and a disappointing 6.4 from Anal. So, as you can see, Kublai and Shirok both picked up yellow cards. We had a goal finally from Mad from the penalty spot, and Shirok's goal. Now, Ahmet, he came on for Kublai. I give him a bit of match time. He got a solid 7 rating. That's nice to see. Volkan came on, got a solid 7 also. And Sinan Kurt got a 6.9. Not the greatest performance, but it was an improvement on what Mehmet was doing that game. So that was not a bad little substitution. But how did we get on in the second of our 2 catch-up games? Okay, so the second game saw us travel away to Trabzonspor. Of course, they are 4th in the table, just below us, and I was expecting it to be a much tougher game, but as you can see, we got off to a nice start, 15 minutes in through Gerkan. Then the mailman keeps the ball in nicely, pulls it back for Aaron, who plays it across to Mad to slot away a nice, simple goal. Like I said, nice to see Mad get on the score sheet in the previous game, but even better to see him score from open play in this one. So, that was a nice, comfortable 2-0 victory and pretty well deserved, to be honest. We had 10 shots to their 9, 6 on target to their 2, so we got more on target, more in total. 0.9 XG as a result and a 0.88 for them. 5 corners, 7, so they did have a couple more corners than we did, but we only gave away 8 fouls to their 15, 0 yellow cards to their 1, 89% passing to their dismal 79, and 58% possession to 42. So let's get off their players who, as you can see, a lot of them underperformed in that starting lineup. 6.4, 6.5, 6.3, 6.5, 6.4, 6.4, 6.5, 6.5, 6.5. Vitor Hugo had a decent game, but 6.6. He was about the only one in their starting lineup who did anything. And as you can see, their substitutes also had dismal efforts as well. On the other side, though, we had a very good game. So Zubzuk, he got a 7.4. Oblor, coming back into the team, went and got a 7.6 alongside Lassen, who got a 7.6. We then had Kublai with a 7.5, the mailman with a 6.9, Shrok 7.2, Emrehan 7, Mehmet with a 6.8 on the right hand side. Gerkan had an amazing performance with a 7.6. Mad, nice to see him getting green with a 7.5, and Milinkovic let us down on the left hand side with a 6.3. But Aaron did come on in his place, as you saw in the highlights, and he did a great job. He got a 7.4. Sinan came on and got a 7.1 for Mehmet, who had a couple of bad games in this gap between episodes, as you've noticed. So, yeah, those 2 substitutes did a good job. I didn't bring anyone else on, did I? No, I just brought on those 2. So, I think that was mainly because I wanted to just stick with the best players possible, and as you can see, no one was really underperforming other than Milinkovic and Mehmet, and we swapped those two out. We didn't really need to swap out the mailman for Obilor, and the rest of them were having great games, so I didn't want to ruin the great games that they were having. So that takes us to today's game. We are, of course, cemented in third place now. As you can see, we are solidly in third place. We've guaranteed ourselves a European spot after beating Trabzonspor, and well, we're pretty much guaranteed third, to be honest. If we manage to win today's game, technically Trabzonspor would be able to catch us if we lost all 3 games after that, but after 35 games, them needing to win all of their remaining 4 games, I don't see it particularly happening. They're a good side, but I don't see Trabzonspor picking up victories in every game. So if we can pick up a victory here today, or in any of our games, quite frankly, because we have some pretty easy ones. We do have Akhisarspor today. We then have a game against Ankara, Araguku, I think. Then Konyaspor, I believe. Although those two might be the other way around. I might be getting them mixed. And then Besiktas. So we have 3 very easy games. One against Besiktas, which is a little more tricky, but it is at home. And they do like to draw a lot. So they're all winnable games. I can see us winning at least 3 of them, and one of them being a little more tricky. But Trabzonspor, not sure who they have. In fact, let's have a little peek at who Trabzonspor have to basically beat to overtake us. So they have Ankara Gucu as well, Konyaspor as well, and Besiktas. Okay, so we share 3 fixtures. That's an interesting one. And then they have Göztepe. So I think they'll beat Göztepe. Besiktas, I think they'll probably draw that one, to be honest. It's away to Besiktas as well, so they might lose it. Konya, I think they're winning that one, and I think they're winning this one against Ankara Gucu. So it's definitely down to what Besiktas managed to do. I think Besiktas is going to settle whether we're third or they're third. So that is how that one is going. I'm not going to make you sit for... In fact, no, I don't need to worry about that because we have the tactical meeting right now. Yes, the tactical meeting, not the team meeting. Now, they are suggesting we'll go from positive to attacking. That seems a little risky, I'll be honest. Yes, we're playing an already relegated side, but I don't want to get too aggressive. So we're going to stick with positive. As you can see, I've made a couple of changes to the starting lineup. So, Zubzuk is sticking in goal. I basically want to start with our normal starting lineup, but I want to give a couple of players an opportunity to play in place of the ones who are slacking a little bit, you know. I want to keep players still playing if they're in form, but if they're not in form, I want to give people opportunities. So, we have Zubzuk staying in goal, Mailman, Kuble, Obilor and Lassen at the back. They've all been solid, as you can see from the last 5 games. They're all in form, or reasonable sort of form. Then Sharok and Emrehan again, they've been playing decent. Gerkan over on that right-hand side, he's been okay, but he's our development player, so I don't particularly want to take him out for anyone, because it'd be just taking a development player out for a development player, and we may as well leave him in the lineup. Then on this left-hand side, I've brought in Eren for Milinkovic. Milinkovic, of course, is the usual starter, but I want to give Eren the opportunity to develop and play on that left-hand side. Sinanket comes in for Mehmet. Mehmet's not been playing great. It's just nice to have Sinanket slot in there. Hopefully that little bit of a break will mean Mehmet bounces back a bit more in the next few games. And then Mad, he's been back on form. He's been playing nice, so he slots back into the starting lineup. Probably going to swap him out for Einol if he gets a couple of goals and has a nice first half, or even in the 62nd, 5th sort of minute, then we'll swap him out. But for now, he starts. Hopefully he can score a few goals, maybe get his value up a little bit, because we'll probably end up selling him at the end of the season. Currently valued at 2.6 million. He is 30 years of age. That is going to harm trying to sell him on. That is the main issue. We did get him on a free transfer, as most of his transfers, to be honest. But yeah, he's improved on his previous season. He's played 10 more games, but he's got an extra goal. He does have 4 less assists, but he does have player of the match. He's not getting those 7 ratings like he previously did, but 6.9 is solid. It's just a little disappointing as our lone striker that he's only got 11 goals. But enough rambling about the madman. We want to go about Sinan Kurt and Eren Gullier. Lack match sharpness and may struggle to see out the game. Well, I trust that they will see the game out. Tactically, everybody is happy. That is a weird one. I am used to our German friend always complaining about the tactics, but in fact, I think it might be because he's not even in the lineup. That could be it. Oh, no, he is. Nicholas Kuhn is on the bench, so it's remarkable that he's not complaining, to be honest, but we have managed to avoid any complaints on the tactical front. I didn't mention them, but we do have Atberk on the bench. We have Musin Yildirim, Ozkan, Godinho, Omar, Volkan, of course, Milinkovic, Kuhn, Recap, who's in his last season, and, of course, Anal. So, let's head to the dressing room. I want you to pick up where you left last time. Yeah, that's not a bad shout. It's not the best shout, but it will do. Now, G. Gonzalez, otherwise known as Guillermo Gonzalez of goal. With things out of your hands, do you really think Barca can become Super League champions? I was planning for mid-table. The board was planning for us to try and avoid relegation. We are third place and in Europe for next year. Guillermo, I never thought we would become champions. I don't even think that's an option on here, but I never thought we was becoming champions this year. And I still don't. There's a 4-point gap on Galatasaray, who have a much greater goal difference, and there's a 5-point gap on Fenerbahce, who also have a much greater goal difference. So we need 2 wins and for them to lose 2 games on the bounce just to hop over them. But yeah, I don't see both of those teams losing 2 games and us winning 2 games. And yeah, I've never given up hope, and neither have any of my players. Football has a funny way of surprising you, and I wouldn't write us off. I would. There's an incredible desire within this team to win the title, and they intend on doing everything in our power to make... No, this is ridiculous. It's impossible to say. We can only focus on doing our jobs for the time being. I really don't know. We obviously need help from elsewhere. It would be tremendously disappointing if we didn't end up on top, but no, it really wouldn't be disappointing. We are overachieving a lot this year. There's nothing disappointing about our situation. I'm not especially confident. We know we have to perform, but it's a big ask for everything to fall into place at this stage. Yeah, it's a bit glum, but it's the truth. Like, there's no chance of us catching them in this particular season. We might catch them next season, depending on how much of the money we get to spend, but that's another for another day. Admit criticism that you have struggled to play in the manner the board would like. Will you see an improvement on that today? Well, we're third in the league. The board can bite me. I don't care, quite frankly, on how to play. Winning is more important than how we play. At the end of the day, winning is the most important thing. Exactly. I've got us to Europe. I'm sorry, but if the board is upset in the mannerism in which I got us to Europe in a season they wanted us to avoid relegation, and like I said, I was only pushing for mid-table, then they're crazy. They're absolutely crazy. If being third in the table is not entertaining enough for them, I don't know what is. I really don't. As you can see, Zubzuk with his 69. It's actually just dawned on me that I gave him 69. I don't know why, probably because I don't pay that much attention to my players' shirt numbers, other than at the start of the season when I give them. Or, of course, during January windows. You know, when you have new signings. Then I, of course, give them then. But I'm rambling. What our players aren't doing, though, is giving us some useful highlights. This is a rather boring game. 33 minutes in and we are yet to score. Lads, I'm going to demand more and I want you to go attacking now. I'm going to go with the Jason approach. Hopefully Jason's approach works out well. As you can see, Galatasaray has actually dethroned Fenerbahce at the moment and are top of the league. Yes, top of the league. But we've just had the most boring half of football ever. 3 shots are there, 3, 2 on target to 1, 0.23 XG to 0.28, 1 corner to 1 corner, 1 foul to 10 fouls, 0 yellow cards to 1 yellow card, 90% passing to 86, 56% possession to 44. I don't know if it's us failing to push up, or they're just going full San Marino and wasting the clock, quite frankly. I'm not happy, lads. You are getting San Marino'd. I'm going to go with the fact that you're getting San Marino'd, because the alternative is much more depressing. Now, we have a couple of players struggling. So Emrehan and Kublai can both go off. So Emrehan can come off for Volkan. We then have Kublai, who's not having the greatest of games. So Gordinho will slot into his spot. Aaron Gullier's not having the greatest of games as well. So Milinkovic can't come on because he's not Turkish enough. So I guess because Mad's not having the greatest of games as well, we'll go Anal. Then we'll bring Milinkovic on. And then it all works out. So, Aaron Gullier plays it over to the mailman. Probably one of his last plays of the game. Aaron gets it over to Emrehan. Emrehan! Two players who struggled so far this game. And, well, are getting substituted for this corner. So, it's the 59th minute. We are going to demand more. We are still on attacking. Probably should have done that from earlier on. But, who cares? We are working with what we've got. Shirok plays over to the mailman. Mailman tries the ball over. It's nodded down, but Volkan will collect this ball. Plays it up to Anal. Now Gerkan plays it back. Lasser made a lovely run, but it's through to Milinkovic on the left instead. Salmani, though, making a lovely save. It's a shame we didn't try to utilise Lassen's overlap on the right-hand side. But these things happen. So, again, we demand more. Lads, pick it up. This is disappointing. Okay, it's actually gone through. Good. We've got 8 minutes remaining. 5 minutes. 4. 3. And we have a corner. Sinan. Can't get it to or below, but Gordinho will collect this one. Can we score in the final minute of the game? Sinan whips one in. Milinkovic, keep your shot down, my friend. Sinan was offside, though, so it doesn't matter. And, well, that was rather dull, wasn't it? Rather dull indeed. Beautiful season, beautiful couple of games between episodes, and then the most boring game humanly possible. I apologise. I really apologise for these players because they decided to shine against Trabzonspor and then they give us whatever this mess was. Now, our best performer was Lassen. He got a 7.4. Zubzuk with a 6.9 in goal. Nobody particularly played terrible, other than probably our strikers. Anal got a 6.5. Adigan got a 6.4. That's very disappointing. Mad actually wasn't too bad. 6.7. Gullier with a 6.8 in the end. Kublai with a 6.6. So it was really Emrehan, Kublai, and Anal who let us down. I guess their San Marino strat worked against us. The mailman got a 7.3, Gordinho got a 6.8, Oblo with 7.4. Like, these aren't bad plays. 7.4 from Shirok, 6.9 from Volkan. Milinkovic, 6.7, 6.7 for Sinan. Not outstanding in any regard, but they're not exactly bad ratings either. 7.1 for Gerkan. So, yeah, it is a little disappointing considering we had 8 shots to 4. We are, of course, third place against bottom of the league who are getting relegated. They've already been relegated last episode, maybe the episode before, if I remember rightly. 6 on target. They had 1 all game. 0.88 XG to their 0.5. 7 corners to 1. 9 fouls to 12. 1 yellow card to 1 yellow card. 89% passing to 86. And 56% possession to 44. They really did just burn that clock down. That is disappointing. That simply wasn't good enough. Exactly. That is a team that has been relegated. Lads, you're playing in Europe next year. You've just played a team who's got 13 points in 35 games. Prior to this, they had 12 points in 34 games. Like, lads, what are you playing at? But, as you can see, Fenerbahce did in the end hop back over Galatasaray. Now, how did the teams around us do? We really need some teams to have slipped up around us. So, Trabzonspor did not. They hammered Ankaragucu 4-0. That's a little disappointing. Fenerbahce got a 2-1 victory over Besiktas. That looks like it was a good game to watch. Now, how did Galatasaray get on? Galatasaray 5-0 against Akhisarspor in the end. They must have hopped them when that was 1-1, I guess, or when they were winning. Yeah, when it was 1-0 and when it was 1-1 because of the goal difference. They've got that goal difference as well. Anyways, enough rambling from me. Konyaspor had a nice upset against Sivasspor. We then have Yeni Malatyaspor, who lost 4-3 in a good game. Where is... Wow. Antalyaspor, you should not be having games that close against Yeni Malatyaspor, but I can't really talk, considering we just had a ball draw against bottom of the league. Goztepe 3-0 against Rizspor, which is normal. We then have Denizlispor. They lost. Wow, they lost to Kayseri. Wow. 2-1 against 5th. Okay. And Bursaspor 3-1. Yeah, that's reasonable. And top is Gaziantep. And I mean, it's not a big surprise, but it's not exactly great for Jane Claire Beligi, is it? Losing 4-1 away to a team that's right next to them in the league. And where does that leave us positionally? Well, we have 3 games remaining in this league. Of course, the game against Besiktas is going to be our final episode of the season. So that means 64 and above. So we're definitely guaranteed to be third or fourth. We have a 5-point gap on Trabzonspor. We can technically get the title, but I doubt it, because we need to win all 3, which would get us 9, which would get us on to 82. Fenerbahce just need to win 1 game to be above us in the next 3. Galatasaray, again, similar situation. So I don't see both of these losing all 3 games, and that basically just cements us in third. It's third or fourth, depending on how we get on in these next few games. As you can see, Trabzonspor have a much better goal difference than us, basically because we can't score. We've got great defense, we just don't have that offense quite yet. Like I said, we are going to upgrade our striker. As you'll see from the table, if I just quickly pop in here, stages. Oh, Trabzonspor has guaranteed themselves European football for next year. If we go for against, we are second by 2 goals to Galatasaray, but then if we look at goals for, we are all the way down here. We have 46 goals. Denizlispor has 48, 2 more than us, and they are in 5th. But everyone else around us isn't great. 15th, 13th, 8th, 5th. 12th has more goals than us. 11th does. 7th, 10th, 9th, 14th. Trabzonspor's not a surprise. 6th does. Like, all of these spots who are below us have more goals than us. It's just we can't get any goals. That is simply our issue. But as you can see, we've got Ankara Gucu, we have Konyaspor between now and the Besiktas game. So hopefully I can pick up a couple of victories in these. If not 3-4 points, just get ourselves in a nice, comfortable spot going into the last game. As long as we have 4 more points than Trabzonspor, we have 5 right now, so we can give up 1. As long as we have 4 more points than them going into the Besiktas game, we can enjoy it, we can relax, and not have a care in the world, because we'll be just settled in third. But I'm rambling. I always ramble, but I'm rambling a little bit more than usual. I hope you all have a lovely night. I hope you have a great week ahead of you, and goodbye.